What's going on, everyone? This is Abe, your host. I'm not sure if this is going to be a Blue Pill podcast episode or a super long intro and then maybe a conspiracy at the end. Who knows? This episode's just going to be kind of loosey-goosey. It's a podcast. You get a podcast today because this has been one of the craziest weeks at work. And I don't know. I think it's story worthy and I just want to talk about my life, you know? My whole thing, you guys know how I feel about podcasts. Like, if you don't like the podcaster, why are you tuning into the podcast? So, today I just kind of want to talk about my crazy week at work. Yeah. And like I said, if we have some extra time, we might get into a conspiracy at the end. So if you're here just for the conspiracy and you don't want to hear me talking about how crazy my week was, yeah, just skip to the end, you know. Sorry, I had some eyelashes, so I was making a wish. So I got up today. Today was a pretty chill day. Stayed up late last night, later than usual, I felt like. Honestly, well, about normal time of what it should be. Like, I have to be asleep by 6 a.m., you know. I slept until like 1 today, dude. So, yeah. But, last night my mom was like, hey, can you, take care of some branches and shit. I had to load up this trailer full of branches from all the storms we had last year, so I did that today. Did a little work before work, so I feel good, you know. I don't know, something about being a man and doing physical labor, like work, you know. It makes you feel good, makes you feel like you're worth something. But I did that today. Played some Zelda. I ain't gonna lie, dude, I barely got to play Zelda before work, and I was so sad because I've been hooked on it, and I was just like, I don't even want to go to work. I just want to stay home and play Zelda. But I gotta work today. So this week has been fucking crazy at work. First, let me tell you like two little random weird little things that happened last night. So, I was doing the trash, and both things happened while I was doing the trash. So I was doing the trash last night by the gas pumps, smoking by the pumps. I don't give a fuck. No, I'm just kidding. But I see this like green light in the sky, and at first I'm like, oh, it's like a helicopter. Then I start seeing it go. So I'm like, what the fuck? And you guys know me, I've seen UFO and shit in the past. So, yeah, go check out that episode, that video. I'm not sure if it was a whole podcast episode, but it's labeled something like my UFO experiences or something. I've talked about it multiple times. I've seen the fireball type UFO. And then it starts getting closer. And it is completely silent, and it's a little personal drone, and it flies all the way over our parking lot. So I don't know, somebody was spying with the drone or having fun with the little personalized drone. I would love to get one. If I can ever get this channel monetized, I would love to save up money and get a drone for this channel, because when we have the money and when life isn't so crazy, me and Sammy do a lot of traveling, and it'd be cool to do like drone shots and shit, because we've went looking for Dogman, out in the middle of the woods and shit. We've done some like cool traveling, like hiking and shit, that it would be cool to do drone shots and shit. Make it more documentary looking, and obviously the better quality and the better your videos are, the more views you get, you know. So that happened, and then we have a little cart that we pull the trash, and I was taking a load and then coming back to pick up the rest of the trash, because it only takes about half of the trash outside. There's like probably 2, 4, 6, 8, 8 fucking trash cans out by the pumps and shit. So there's quite a bit of trash cans out there. Well, there's 10 altogether. There's 2 by the door, 8 at the pumps. We got a lot of pumps. I think we got like 15 pumps or something. The last trash can that I take out, there's a fucking purse in there, like a nice leather purse. And I live in Nicholasville, so it's pretty shady. And I don't know. I don't know if someone stole someone's purse, took the money, and was just throwing the evidence in the trash. And a part of me was almost like, maybe I should call the cops, not take this trash, and have them come check it out. But, and I don't know, my conscience, my little Jiminy Cricket was going off, but I ain't gonna lie, dude. I've had nothing but, I shouldn't say nothing but, but me and cops don't mix well. I try to mind my own business. They're always the ones fucking with me and not leaving me alone. I do have, I've been gang stalked and shit. Like, FBI was looking for my dad and gang stalking me and pulling me over all the time. I need to do an episode about my gang stalking experiences. I did do one, and then I had people harassing me in comments, so I just deleted it. I should have kept it up. But, yeah, I just was like, nah, I ain't fucking with that. I ain't calling the sheriff's department. I ain't gonna sit here and talk to them, and I'm just gonna leave it be. So yeah, I just took the trash out and threw it away. So that was some weird shit that happened yesterday. So this is my work week in general. It has been crazy here at fucking work. So like 3 or 4 days ago, this lady comes in. And you guys know me, like, I'm interested in the woo-woo, but I myself am not like a new ager. I'm an occultist. I'm a ceremonial magician. Me and my wife do a lot of, like, well, we used to, not anymore. She wants to get back into it, but we used to do, like, paranormal investigations and shit. I used to make occult items and experiment with occult items on film, and I'm an experimenter and investigator of the paranormal and the occult. And I think the reason why our channel never really gets that many views on our occult item episodes or like the paranormal episodes is because we really don't find much evidence of shit. And I'm a believer. I've had ghostly experiences. I've seen orbs. I've seen ghosts. Seen UFO. I believe in this shit. I just haven't really seen it that much, you know. I've had like 2 or 3 extremely vivid, amazing experiences, and that's about it. Most of the time when we ghost hunt and shit, I don't really find much. But I do enjoy listening to the stories, like Coast to Coast AM or the Confessionals podcast, Expanded Perception, shit like that. But, this woman walks in, and she's got, like, black hair. She literally looks like an archetypal witch. She literally looks like a witch. But, like, not a good witch. Like, an old hag archetype, or the witch archetype, you know, the Hecate, you know. We'll have to do a deep dive episode on Hecate. But, yeah, so, like, she's been in before, and I'm always, like, I'm very professional when it comes to work. I'm super nice and shit. And I don't cuss, I'm always a gentleman, thank you, how are you, and every time I've ran across this lady, like, twice before, and every time I'm like, hey, how are you, do you have rewards with us, blah, blah, blah. She's just like, no. Just like grumpy, like just a mean, evil witch. And the last time she came in, she was buying a Mike's Hard Lemonade, and we have to ID. Where I work, we have to ID, and we have to scan the actual ID. So this causes some problems because people will come in, like her, with because it's illegal to have two IDs, but they'll have the temporary ID from the DMV and shit. And what I need to do is I used to do letter to editors, and I used to write for the newspaper in general. A lot of you guys know, longtime listeners, that I used to be a journalist for the Garrett County newspaper. I need to write like a letter to the editor because, for one, I love writing articles and getting them printed. Something about holding an article you wrote in a newspaper, it's like, it feels so good. It's a feeling I cannot explain. To have your words printed, and they archive all that shit at newspapers and shit. But I need to do this, like a letter to the editor, like, hey man, we gotta fix this whole temporary license shit, because on the paper it's literally an image of the license. We have to scan the barcode on the back. And the thing is our store is one of the only stores that does it. We get people who are angry at us just about every day because of it. But the thing is they're going to make it a statewide law, from what I heard, all across Kentucky, to where every place is going to have to scan barcodes. Hang on. And it's annoying. It sucks. And another thing too is, like, we get a lot of people from like Mexico, Honduras. Last night I had 2 girls from Ireland who are going to college here. Because they don't have the right barcode on the back, I couldn't sell them cigarettes. And with the Mexicans and the Honduras people, it almost creates literally like racial tension, which is what I'll get into here in a little bit. Because it's like, and you have to explain to them it has to be United States ID. You guys won't scan through, the barcode won't scan. I can't sell it without scanning it. And I can't sell it using my ID, because I would love to just sit there with my ID and just go and use mine, but I can't, because it'll show up in the system that I'm buying all this alcohol and cigarettes, and my boss won't like that, and you know what I mean? It sucks. But, so she came in with the temporary tags, and maybe I need to call the DMV and not complain in a bad way, but just be like, is there anything, can you guys do something about this? Like, print the barcode on the paper so we can scan the barcode or something, because this is fucking up my life. Every day I have to deal with angry customers. Which, by the way, this lady was buying a Mike's Hard. Like, are you that hard up for alcohol? And this is coming from an alcoholic. You guys know my past. But I've never been angry. I would just go, okay. Because Lexington's right there, right down the road. It takes 5 minutes to get to Lexington. Yeah, it's like, dude, why are you getting pissed? Like, you can literally just go 5 minutes up the road and get alcohol. Lexington's right there. You can get alcohol like multiple places over there. And in Kentucky, as long as it's not a Sunday, we sell alcohol like 24/7. There was a 24/7 gas station literally across the street when I was staying at my mom's in Lancaster during my divorce. I would walk up there at like 3 a.m. and get beer and shit, because I was drinking heavy, So, like, chill the fuck out. But she's like, I don't have, this is my license. And I was like, I understand that it's on this paper. I said, without a barcode, I can't sell it. And she goes, yes, you can. I said, no, I can't. You can't do that. I said, well, I am. And she was like, well, and I told her, I said, look, she's like, well, they won't give me my license yet. You don't understand? I'm like, I do understand. I said, I just moved here last year. I said, I just went through this. Having to carry around the temporary license until I got my actual license through the mail. Which in Danville, they just make it there. I don't understand why they don't just do it the same here, but that's a whole nother story. Yeah, so, I mean, I was like, I just went through this. I understand how it works, but I can't sell it without the barcode. It's our company policy. And she's like, well, where's your manager? I said, we don't have a manager on shift right now. Yes, you do. I said, no, we don't. Well, let me talk to her. And I'm like, she's not a manager, pointing at my friend Shayna. So then Shayna, she's a badass. I love Shayna. She doesn't work with us anymore, which I'll explain here in a little bit. She turns around and goes, what's the problem? And the lady's like, well, this motherfucker won't sell me, alcohol. And before that, though, she said, well, you're just stupid if you don't understand. I said, first of all, are we seriously going to fucking verbally abuse? And I did drop a F-bomb at that point, because I'm like, you're going to fucking verbally abuse me? I said, that's not cool. And then I said, that's when Shayna turned around and she's like, what's the problem? Because she heard her cussing me out. But I reiterated, I said, I told you I just went through this year. I know, I'm not stupid, I understand the process. But I can't sell you this alcohol, And then Shayna was like, what's the problem? And this lady's like, this dumb motherfucker won't sell me this because I don't have an actual license. She's like, we can't do it. We have to be able to scan the barcode. It physically on the register will not let us ring this alcohol up. And the lady started cussing her out. So they just literally got into a cussing match, screaming, cussing at each other in the store. Shayna chased her out of the store, cussing her out. The lady was like, what's your name? I'm like, Abe. Showed her my tag, my dog tag was like, it's Abe, and Shayna was like, she's like, what's your name? And she's like, Shayna, bitch, fuck you, like flipping her off. I'm like, I love you, Shayna. So that happened this week. Let me get into the other two things that happened that were crazy. So the second thing that happened was literally like the next day. And my buddy Michael was here the day that all that shit happened with me and Shayna and that crazy witch lady. And the lady said she was going to call the next morning and complain. She never did, knock on wood, which is awesome that all kind of blew over, because I was like, oh, great. The next day I was all paranoid, like coming into work, like, am I going to get in trouble? Nothing happened though, so I'm guessing the bitch didn't call. Which our number isn't even registered on Google. I love it. We like never get calls because we just don't register our number on Google, and I'm like, keep it that way. But the next day, my buddy Michael was ringing somebody up, and same fucking thing happened. It was this chick from like, some black chick from like Honduras, or no, it wasn't Honduras, it was like Jamaica or something, or the Bahamas. She came in trying to get alcohol, and he's like, it has to be United States license or identification for us to scan it and sell it. Same fucking shit. And okay, disclaimer, I love Michael to death, but he has put your foot and mouth syndrome, just like my wife. He has autism, and he makes like really fucked up bad jokes to just everyone. He has, I guess it's an autism thing. I don't know. I don't understand autism completely. Like, my nephew has it like really bad. Michael has like functioning enough autism that that there's something wrong with him, but he still functions. Like, he can still drive, he can still work. But he got fired from our last job because he literally has that like special ed rage, which I'm not making fun of him, but he turned into the Hulk over at Kroger, and the cashier, he was back being bag boy, and the cashier was making fun of him, and he finally had enough. And in the middle of like shopping rush during the day, like he picked up the bag thing and threw it across the room against the wall and just walked out. And they're like, yeah, we gotta fire you. But he had already had multiple complaints, like he slapped a kid's hand for trying to steal the money out of the donation thing. I love him to death, but it's like, homie, there's certain things, I understand you have autism, but there's certain things you cannot say, there's certain things you cannot do, like slapping someone else's kid, their hand, like, no, dude, no. He just doesn't have that social boundary, you know? So he's always here at work, man. He's always making like super off-color jokes, like lesbian jokes, political jokes, and like everyone knows the basics of like there's 3 things you don't talk about: religion, politics, and I forget the last one, but maybe sex. But like you just out in public, you just don't do that, especially at your job, you know. So he's always telling jokes, and I just put my hand in my head, like, because I love Michael. He's my buddy. He's the reason I got this job. But I'm like, dude, shut up. You are going to get, like, how he does not get, like, a billion complaints a day, it's amazing to me. But I just keep my mouth shut. But when I worked with him at Kroger, he was telling a coworker the joke from Boondock Saints. You know, the one that says the N-word like 50 fucking times, of the genie, you know, well, are you telling me all the black people and Mexicans are gone? I'll have a Coke. You know, that joke. It's a classic. It is a funny joke. And I told him, I'm like, I walked by and he was in the middle of telling this to a coworker who was not a cool person. She was like a gossip queen at Kroger. And I'm like, Michael, no, stop. And he's like, what? And my buddy Jacob, another coworker, walked by and he's like, what's he doing? I said, he's telling the Boondock Saints joke. And he's like, no, dude, no, do not say it. And he's like, what? And it's funny. And then we're like, nope, just don't do it. Like, we told him no. Because, like, you will get fired, because this chick literally was a gossip queen and was one of those types of people who purposely would cause problems. So I've already had to save his ass at Kroger before, you know, for saying shit. And so instead of just telling this lady from the Bahamas, like, hey, it's our system, we can't ring it up without a certain type of barcode, your license doesn't have it, I'm sorry, I can't sell it, it's our store policy. He says, the lady's like, well, it's still an ID. And he says, it's not a race thing, it's just an issue of national security. And I'm like, oh my God. So I was in the kitchen. I didn't even know this shit was going on. I just see there's lines up front. So I will hop on register. And apparently the lady was like, I want you to call your manager right now. And forced him to call the management. And she got on the phone and talked some shit. And luckily there was a guy who was right behind her. And he's like, hey, call your manager and I want to talk to her. And he's like, dude, your employee meant nothing by it. He just said some off-color stuff. He was super apologetic. He's doing a good job. Don't listen to that lady who just called you, blah, blah, blah. So he smoothed it over. A good Samaritan, you know. And then he came over to me and was like explaining the situation to me because I didn't know. And I just told him, I was like, Michael's got autism, dude. I said, he says off-color stuff all day, every day. I said, that's just Michael. Most of the locals understand that there's something wrong with him, so they're all cool. But like, I'm like, clearly this lady was not a local, so she doesn't realize, oh, this dude is like special ed, you know. And it's like, I'm special ed. I was special ed growing up. I was in special ed, you know, multiple head injuries and shit. I know that I'm not completely fucking I'm not a social butterfly over here, you know. But so then he came up to me and he's like, well, there's something in the air, you know. And I'm like, yeah, I know, dude. He's like, same thing happened to me that happened to you and Shayna last night. I said, yeah, dude, people are fucking crazy. So both of those things happened this week. One more thing yesterday fucking happened this week at work that I'm gonna get into. It's fucking crazy. It was the craziest day of all. They say things happen in threes, so here we go. So yesterday, I'm in kitchen, and my coworker comes in, Shayna, the one that stood up for me in the first story, and she's got like cancer and shit. She's just struggling. Like, I love Shayna to death, but so I've already had the kitchen manager come up to me saying, do you ever smell alcohol on Shayna? And I said, look, I'm not gonna lie. I said, I have never had that talent. Unless you are literally like an inch from my face, breathing in my nose. I said, I can't really smell alcohol that good. I don't know if it's because I smoke cigarettes or what. Because I've never had that ability. And I was a bartender for 8 years. I can tell when someone's drunk just by their actions of like slurring and staggering and glassy-eyed 1,000-yard stare, you know. But I do not have the ability to smell or sniff out alcohol. My nose is just not that good. So I'm like, I ain't gonna lie, dude, I've never smelt it on her. She's like, okay, because she opened her car door when I was talking to her the other day, and I seen a bottle of vodka in there. And I don't know, you guys know me, I'm a drinker, but here's something, if you're a drinker, never buy alcohol at the place you work. Never. Because someone will say something to someone. Even if you're buying just one beer, it does not matter. I have made the rule with myself, I never buy alcohol at the place that I work. And I've never admitted to being a drinker. If anyone ever asks, I say, no, I don't drink at all. Never. That's my advice to you. If you drink, never buy alcohol at work. If you're at a place that sells it, and never admit to drinking ever. People are so fucking evil in this world, and people love to gossip. So that being said, and it's like, dude, we work 4 to midnight. So a lot of people, I've worked night shift, I've worked third shift. Like, as a drinker, it becomes a habit of like, you buy your shit before work, so that way you can just go straight home and start drinking. So I'm like, you can't really fucking judge her for having a bottle of vodka in her car, you know? But then, the other day, she kept making trips out to the dumpster and hiding in the corner by the dumpster. And, dude, she kept slurring, falling into shit, bumping into shit. To the point where even Michael was like, are you okay? You just look like you're gonna pass out. And she's like, I don't feel good. Like, she was fucked up. And this was one of the few times I actually could smell it on her. It smelled like vodka. I'm like, oh. But I'm not a rat. I don't say nothing. And our boss, Ange, who's Michael's dad, he came up and he peeked around the corner and he said, and I said, so we went around the corner and I said, he's like, is she drunk? I said, I don't know. I said, you're the boss. I said, but she is acting weird. I was trying to not snitch, but it's pretty obvious when someone's like falling into shit. And I said, Michael asked her earlier because he noticed it too. I said, I don't know. I mean, what do you do at that point? Breathalyzer? Like, keep that shit in the office if you want to check if someone's drunk. I don't know what to tell you, you know. But I'm like, I'm not the boss. I said, I think she's drunk, but I'm not the boss. So, but I can't prove it either. And he's like, yeah, you're right. Can't prove it, you know. And I'm like, yep. Unless you're finding. And then she was like counting her drawer. Her handwriting was super sloppy. Ange even noticed it. He's like, dude, her handwriting's fucked. And she was counting her drawer, and like she put her hand in her pocket to get something, and like a little airplane bottle cap came out and fell and landed and rolled around. And me and Michael both seen it, and he's just like, And I picked it up and I said, Shayna, this is yours. And she went, that's not mine. I don't know what that's from, you know. I'm like, well, it fell out of your pocket. And she said, no, it didn't. I'm like, okay. I'm just kind of hinting to her, like, if you're gonna drink and be a closet drinker, that's none of my business. I don't give a fuck, you know. I ain't no rat. But it's like, at least hide your shit a little better, you know. Because I wasn't a bad alcoholic, dude. I used to have airplanes in my pocket and keep empty airplanes in my pocket and trash them, you know. Put it at the bottom of the trash, you know, and shit like that. I've been there. Luckily, I'm not as bad as I used to be, but still, I struggle with it every day, man. I've made it 4 days, man. That's my record right now, is like 4 days, 0 drinks, dude. But I'm doing a lot better than I was. So anyways, she came in, and I'm pretty sure, because I talked to her a little bit. We're going into overtime. I talked to her a little bit, and I'm pretty sure she was drunk when she came in. Because she was cussing up a storm and shit. And that's actually why she got called to the office. So she got called to the office because she was supposed to be on register, and she's like, whose bitch ass is on this register? Like, in front of customers and everything. And Mary, our coworker's like, whoa, okay, coming in hot, you know. And she's like, you're supposed to be on that register. So she gets on it. She's like pissed, like angry drunk, you know. She gets called to the back. All I hear is cussing. I don't know who's saying what. Our big boss came in. So I don't know if she was up the road and got called in, like, hey, we're firing Shayna. I heard a bunch of cussing back there. Then next thing I know, Shayna's walking out. And I get told by my boss, if she comes back in, call the cops. Then she comes back in. Well, then they go out there. The two bosses go out there, and they're talking forever. Then Shayna comes back in and starts working. And I'm like looking at my coworker like, are we supposed to call the cops or what? So then we're working. She lets her work for like an hour, and then the boss comes back over and says, you got to go home. I'm like, what is going on, dude? Then listen to this Minority Report shit. So Shayna leaves. The cops come in, go to the office, are talking to my boss, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Then my coworker goes to the girl's bathroom. She runs to the office after the cop leaves and goes, hey, come here. They go in there. They find a bottle of Fireball in the trash can. They get it out. This is where it gets Minority Report and shit. Apparently, I don't know if this was I don't know if it was related or unrelated. I don't know. Apparently, someone had sold a Fireball bottle to someone who they thought was impaired. The cops had been looking for this person. So they were reading off the barcode on the phone with the cops on the barcode to see if it was the same bottle that was sold. I'm like, that's some Minority Report shit. So I'm thinking it was they were trying to get Shayna for being drunk, because Shayna was drunk for like the 3rd or 4th time at work. So I'm like, oh, they're trying to get my girl. I'm like, not only did they fire her, but then they had her work for an hour so the cops could show up and get her. Because the cop and Shayna both left at the same time. So I'm like, did she just get arrested? So I texted her today, and she texted back. She didn't get arrested. She just went home. I'm like, apparently it was unrelated, but I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, did they seriously make her work an extra hour just to get the cops up here so they could arrest her because she's drunk? I'm like, I don't know. The whole situation's fucking crazy, but I'm going to wrap it up there. That has been my crazy week at work. I had to share it. I know it's not conspiracy, but I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all were entertained. I love y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to get back up to 500 subs. Y'all have a good day, and hopefully tonight at work is a good night. See you guys.